Good morning. Welcome. I'm Mary Winter, a gerontologist and the owner of About Senior Solutions, and you are watching Visionary Aging because we want you to be empowered through your aging process. We want you to have good information, education, and make sure that you are in control of how well you age, and you are in control. So today our guests are Herbie J. Pilato. He has a really interesting book that's coming out on Sunny and Share, how their real life and their personal lives parallel or not. And we also have our very own Melinda Hughes on. She's going to talk a little bit about ageism in TV and how that affects us in real life. So we're having this little TV parallel today. We also have Steve McCullough, who has a very interesting caregiver question. And maybe the individual has a little bit of poor insight and the family's looking for some direction. So we'll definitely talk with them today. I have a fantastic 100-year-old who happens to be the oldest survivor of Pearl Harbor. So let's go ahead and talk about Mr. Higgins. I'm going to find him here with us. And let's see. There we go. We're going to find Mr. Higgins here because it's an incredible picture, actually. And we want to thank the bulletin for his photo and this fantastic information. And let's see, am I muted? No, I am not muted. Good. Okay. So Dick is the oldest survivor, and he lives in Central Oregon. And he gathered with several friends who were close to him and lined the walkway to his home, all these friends. And he had a fabulous birthday banner at the entrance of his home. He does have some difficulty hearing and seeing, but he is fantastic in regards to sharing his stories. And I would think that everybody just wants to swoop around him and hear what he has to say. Another thing that's kind of interesting is he was thinking back on when he was a kid, December 7th, 1941, when we had that attack on Pearl Harbor. And honestly, I think my dad wanted me to be born on December 7th. I wound up being born on December 8th because I think that was such a significant, memorable day for him as a child. And an important thing when some of his family members went to war after Pearl Harbor. But I have to say, my granddaughter was born on December 7th, so I think my dad got his wish in some way. He has survived so much. That's what his daughter Vicky has said. And just before Higgins thought his party was coming to an end, his family put the icing on the celebration. They walked him outside to find a surprise parade worthy of the 4th of July. More than 200 participants in vintage cars, rumbling motorcycles, and bicycles rode by on Discovery Park Drive while another 100 people lined the street. It was the kind of parade Bend hasn't seen in 2 years due to the pandemic. Mr. Higgins wore red, white, and blue Hawaiian shirts. I think that's very fitting. And his hearing aid and Pearl Harbor survivor's hat soaked up that scene. He sat in a folding chair on the curb and saluted everyone who passed by. I wish I had other pictures that I could share with you. He also has the Hawaiian lei around his neck. He said he's just so grateful to have friendship and have so many people participate in this special birthday. I hope you have a fantastic birthday. His late wife's brother-in-law lived to be 106, so perhaps there is some longevity there for him as well. Obviously, there's longevity there. He said he still has his sense of humor. He said he's going for 110, and at his funeral, the one thing that he requests is that they do not play taps. So definitely has his sense of humor intact. Mr. Higgins, happy birthday, and thank you for your duty to our country. We appreciate you tremendously. So let's see, who is next? I think we're going to bring Steve on, and we'll have that caregiver question that he has. We'll talk through an answer. So let's see. No, you're not showing that, Steve. Let's see. There. He is here, but he's not showing up. I bet we can
I'm
hear
here.
you. Okay, why don't you ask me the question, because for whatever reason you're not popping into the screen.
No worries. But you can hear me?
I can hear you fine. Yeah.
I've always been told I had a good face for radio, so maybe that's it.
I know that I have to. So what is
So my question is, this is a really good one too. I think a lot of people will relate to. So viewer writes in, she says that her dad does not like being around a bunch of old people. He thinks his contemporaries are dull, and the way he talks, the way he communicates to them is not necessarily very kind towards with his comments. And she also thinks that he may be suffering some mental issues, some lapses in memory himself. And so she wants to get some advice on how she could discuss these topics with him.
That's really interesting and tough, and probably not something that'll be accomplished in one conversation, obviously. But I think when we do age and we do have friends who do have some incapacities, it does become difficult to have that same relationship we've always had. I think it's important to maintain friendships with people who are younger than us too, not just because of people aging as much as I think it's really important to stay connected to younger generations and their influences, and for you to influence them as well. And it's her dad is having some issues with his memory though. That's a little bit different, and it may be that he's seeing his impairment and he's worried, or he's seeing impairment in his friends, and so he's kind of repelling away from them. That is not uncommon. And I would say if she thinks there's a problem, it is something that should be looked into, discussed with his doctor, and it's something that will probably take a little while to uncover, but watching for when and how he's reacting a certain way, I think it's important, and just kind of watching the behavior, what's the antecedent to the behavior, what happened before the behavior. So if there's something kind of paralleling routinely what's going on, we do that. So I wish her very well. I think it'll be a little bit of a process. But that is a great question, and something that I think people deal with fairly routinely. So thanks a lot for bringing that question up.
Absolutely.
There we go. There you go. There you are.
I was here. I told you.
It was a button. So we have Herbie Day with us today, and we also have Melinda. She's going to talk a little bit about. I think she could talk a little bit about ageism in TV, and how sometimes I think it stereotypes people. I don't think that's good either. So we'll see what she has to say.
Excellent.
Yeah.
You had a full show.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'll talk to you later, okay?
All right, sounds good.
All right, thanks. We'll bring in Melinda. Hey, you, how are you this morning? Oh, I've got you on mute, so there you are. How are you?
I'm good. I couldn't be better.
Great.
I was excited to hear that Herbie was coming on to talk about the parallels between TV and real life, because I definitely think we look to film and TV. It heavily influences body image, and
it does. You're right.
Yeah, so when we see images, either of what a man should look like or what a woman should look like in our TV and film, it informs us about what our bodies should look like. But even a step further, the way that aging is portrayed in film and TV influences how we believe we're supposed to age. And I would argue there's not a lot of positive, examples of aging in film and TV, and one of the things that I talk about with people when they come into the strength shop is what's common with aging should not necessarily be normal. We expect as a society that as we age, we will start to become very sick. And that's not necessarily the way aging should be. And I love how you showcase centenarian. Oh my God, I can't say the word today.
Centenarian. It is a hard word to say. Say it 5 times. Or slow. It's hard either way.
Oh, it's like it's early in the morning for me, I guess.
Yeah, it is.
But I love that you showcase those people every week, because it gives us another model of how aging can be. And I know a lot of times the people that you showcase, they're happy, they're moving around, they're talking, they're involved with their lives, and so uh, we can we can shape the way that we live the rest of our lives, the way that we age. So we don't necessarily have to look to TV and film for those models when you provide them. But um,
It's actually, it's true though. You think about when was the last time you saw somebody who was inspirational as an older person and wasn't shown as being decrepit? It was kind of interesting. I think, what was it? Was it El Camino, the one with Clint Eastwood? How he became an inspiration to the neighbor kid in
yeah.
Midwestern town or Eastern town, and but you don't see that often. Golden Girls comes to mind, but usually.
Oh, I loved Golden Girls.
Yeah, just kind of decrepit and curled over, and that's not true. So tell us also, how do you avoid some of these images and inspire people through their aging process to have the best?
There was another show that I really liked. It was Frankie and Something on Netflix, and that was.
Oh, that's a great one too.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
It really
But
is. Yeah.
I think also a big problem is that in TV and films, a lot of times, I know that I first moved to Los Angeles before I even got into the fitness and nutrition world. I was pursuing acting, and it's a very accepted belief that you can age out of acting. Like you start to not be hired anymore the older you get.
Well, I think it's interesting too, because it seems like unless you're willing to be a character actor and pretend that you're old, or age into something where you get to be the granny, I don't know. I just find it very interesting. We're not bun wearing gray haired ladies anymore, and that's still the way TV wants to portray women. So it's worth your hand that you'll hit somebody right.
It's really, like, that was really eye-opening for me when I started working in fitness, especially with my clients who are older. I would meet all sorts of women, especially because I am a woman, that I really looked up to, and I was like, wow, they're doing it right. They're traveling, they're having fun, they're dressing in clothes that make them feel good. They weren't, like you said, like the same aging in the same way that I guess we expect from watching film and television. The Golden Girls was such a great show. Like, I want to be like them when I'm that age. But
exactly.
Yeah.
Given the fact that we do lose muscle mass every single year, so we're kind of trying to do a little catch up regardless.
Yeah.
What do you think is the big takeaway we should have in regards to maintaining our core and our strength and our power in our bodies as we age? What do you think is? Give us a
I think mindset goes a long way. So when we see images of, I guess that tell us that we're not going to be attractive or that we can't do certain things. I mean, we have a client who came to us in 2017 at the age of 77, who wanted to climb Mount Fuji. And she worked with us for 6 months and then went and climbed. And it's like, why do we have to listen to the, I just read another study. Oh my God, this is amazing. In France, they did some experiments with a 100-year-old cyclist that beat the world record for cycling. And this is the part that gives me chills. Over the course of they performed these studies on him. He actually improved in performance at age 103. Improved.
Wow.
That
From
is,
100 to 103. Wow.
isn't that
Wow.
amazing?
It
That's
is amazing.
possible. It's
Well, and
possible.
I think we are living longer, obviously, but we want to live better. And
Mm-hmm.
I think to your point, the fact that he's improving is so amazing. So
yeah, he's pedaling faster. What the study did say was that a mixture of high intensity and low intensity pedaling was how he was able to see the most improvement in his cycling performance. But he then performed better in that race at 103. I mean, it's not, we don't have to decline as we age. We can choose not to. And there are other people who are doing it. We just don't see those models typically. But if you can believe, if you can change your mindset around what aging can look like for you, that those things are possible. It is possible to improve our performance after the age of 100.
I agree.
Yeah.
So how about, I think, one last one from you.
Mm-hmm.
One last golden nugget from you.
I think too, as we get older, I like to think of my body as a car, soon it'll be a classic car soon. And the care that we have to put into an older car or a classic car is a little bit different than the care we put into the brand new, where we don't have to really do anything.
That's a great point. Yeah.
And so it's like, when the body breaks down as we get older and things pop up, I've seen people hate on their bodies. And I think the big thing to come back to is your body's carried you through all these years, all these different experiences. There's going to be like some breakdown at some point. And it's how we get through that. But also, I think the mindset of being very grateful for the journey that our body does carry us on is a part of that. And then just, when we're contending with illness or injury, or, some of these things that naturally occur as we age, give your body the proper conditions to heal or to flourish as best as it can at any age in any condition.
I agree.
So.
Thank you. Great advice, Melinda Hughes. Really appreciate you. And if you are around at the end of the show, we'll come back and say goodbye.
Okay.
All right. Now we're going to talk to Herbie. I'm really excited to hear about him. And
I can't wait.
Share. I know. Exactly. Sounds great. Okay. Talk to you soon. And now we're going to bring Herbie in. Yeah, I'm excited to hear about his new book. Herbie, welcome.
It's not a book. It's
a new article. Okay.
just enough about Sonny and Cher. But I loved everything you guys were talking about before about the ageism thing, because it's so true. And it's not just ageism that's an issue on TV today or in the film. It's perfectionism. Perfection. Ism really. If you look at the new shows today, everybody's beautiful. Everybody's perfect looking. There's no flaws. They're all young. So it's not just that they're all young, they're all perfect. If you go back in the days of Gilligan's Island, you had a happy man, a skinny guy, an older couple. You had certainly the movie star, the country girl, but they were all
you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I completely agree. And that's a lot to kind of put up with then, too. And no wonder our children's body images and so forth are so horrible. Plus, we can post all these photos with all of the lines drawn out and buffed out and looking beautiful and perfect. So nobody puts anything. It's like your Christmas card, right? And your Christmas letter. Everything's going to be perfect. That's news, not anything that's not going well. So that's a great point.
It's insane. It's high expectations that you cannot live up to, and it depresses people. And there's no comfort. There's no nurturing sense. It's either you look perfect, you look beautiful, or you're no good. I mean, that's essentially the message that today's TV and films are sending. And it's also the lack of talent. I mean, back in the day, if you got a television series, or if you got
Yeah, exactly.
a movie, and you have this experience that you bring to, TV and film. Today, you do a YouTube video, or if you're an influencer, as they say, with 1 million hits, you get a series, but you have to have talent, but it doesn't matter. So it's just crazy.
It is crazy. Well, but you know what? Cher actually, to me, is the epitome of someone who has maintained her weight, her strength, and her youth, and I think she's a great role model. To the extent that
I would say, because they met when Sonny and Cher met in the '60s. She was very young, and he essentially guided her career. He was the manager, more or less. He wasn't the one with all the performance talent. She had that. So then their career in music kind of died out. Summer show in the summer '71. It was a hit and was brought back as a regular show. And then it went on for 3 years, and then they got divorced. And then she tried to come back with her own show. He tried to come back with his. Those failed. And then they reunited in a new Sonny and Cher show, but this time they weren't married. They were divorced. And joking about being married, or joking with each other when you're married, is adorable. Joking with each other when you're divorced and putting each other down is not adorable. So
it's a little,
And then he dies. Years later, he dies. She makes this incredible appearance at his eulogy, or at his service in Palm Springs, where he was the mayor, by the way. And she talks. She has no makeup on, no flashy dresses. She talks about how much she loves Sonny. It was an immense celebrity eulogies that was made in public before it became a hip thing to do like it is today. And then a couple years after that, she blossomed with her career. She just really kept on going, and she had more surgeries, whatever. Okay, look, I'm not one for extensive surgery. All right. You want to get a nose job here and there, get a little nip and tuck, fine. Extensive. I cannot support that in a Michael Jackson kind of way. But Cher really somehow tapered all of that and came out perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, no, I mean, she really, and I think she continues to develop new music and new like image of herself. Remember, she had her blonde era, and she's always had her long hair. I think that's always been her her key.
She remains current. I think she's doing a Broadway show that she's working on. So,
and she's been great on TV, but I love that show, the Sonny and Cher show itself. So tell us a little bit more. I just remember getting my little tape recorder, wanting to tape them, and then when their daughter would come on, it was like, woo, cute. And so tell us more about your article that you are publishing, and a little bit more about kind of their inner life.
Yeah, well, I wanted with the articles that I do for the Television Academy, I usually write 50th anniversary type articles or tributes. And since this is the summer of 2021, 50 years ago, the Sonny and Cher Comedy Hour debuted, so I wanted to pay tribute to it. So I interviewed a couple of the producers of the show, and I also went to the DVD extras that were on the DVD, and the original producers, Chris Beard and Alan Bly. It was such a unique show because, there was the Carol Burnett show, and that was legendary. But Sonny and Cher were the first musical group to host a variety show. Then came Tony Orlando and Dawn. Then came the captain and Tennille. But Sonny and Cher were the first to do that. And they were funny. They were edgy. They weren't offensive. They would mess up during, the skits, and that would be part of the fun of it. It was just tremendously loose for its time. And Steve Martin was one of the writers and one of the extras, or one of the supporting comedy team before he became a wild and crazy guy.
That's interesting. I did not know that. That's a very interesting factoid. Yeah. So tell me a little bit more. Did you do more research on what their personal life was like in relation to how they presented in real life or on TV, their TV life?
Yeah. Yeah, they really never got along. They never got along really at all. I mean, it was just one of those kinds of relationships, But when the director said, action, they were dynamite together. And you had mentioned, Chastity, their little 2-year-old daughter, who today has transitioned into Chaz, an actor, a very respectable actor. But in 1971, he was this adorable little 2-year-old girl that everybody just welcomed. It became something that people looked forward to seeing Chastity at the end. At the end of the show, Sonny and Cher would bring out Chastity, they'd hold her up, and they'd say goodbye to the audience. And it was something that was a community.
Yeah, and they had little matching outfits.
Community type thing. Love the family.
Yeah, it did. It made you realize, just like today, the big word is to be authentic, but being yourself and showing the family style and just, I don't know, everybody appreciates love and kindness and gentleness. And I think it was just something that it just was appealing to people. It said, she's a little bit like me.
It's why we loved them. We loved seeing them together. We loved that they were joking together as married people, which, all kinds of relationships really that work always do that. But that's why it didn't work when they tried to do the reunion show after they got divorced. The magic was gone, and certainly the magic was gone when they tried their own singular show.
Yeah, they didn't have the dynamic.
It was Sonny without Cher. Cher as a superstar, after he died, what was she going to do? Come back and do an act with his ghost? He was gone. So she had to survive, and she just reinvented herself into being, not just a performer, but a Oscar-winning actress.
I know. Very, very talented. In fact, I wonder, she might be going for that, what do they call it when you get the Tony, the Grammy, the Oscar, there's only, was that Rita Moreno is the only person that has
there's a word, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah,
amazing.
It's an Enoch or something, Emmy. There's a something you call it. They put the initials together, and that's what you win, or that's what you are if you've won an Emmy, a Grammy, a Tony, and an Oscar.
Amazing. They're quite talented to be able to do something, and obviously very rare too. So I'm going to bring back our other friends here and add them to the end of our program. And hopefully Melinda knows we're coming up. Hey guys!
We made it.
Melinda, I think you would make a great new Ginger in a Gilligan's Island remake.
Oh, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would our roles be? I guess I'd have to be Mary Ann or Mrs. Howell. I could do it.
Hopefully, I'm not Skipper.
I'm too old for Gilligan, so maybe Gilligan's dad. I don't know.
Oh yeah, one cast of characters. There you go. So, any special plans for your weekend?
I'm going to Santa Barbara. It's my birthday on Sunday.
Oh, happy
Nice.
birthday!
Thank you.
Oh, right.
41.
Happy early birthday.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
Okay.
Mary, I know we talked about this before, but we were talking about doing like national days. Today is National Cheesecake Day. We should all do that.
Gotta stay away from that. Well, we have actually, you know what? I'm not sure. Next week we'll bring up our perk and we'll look through what special day it is. I don't know. The other day was like sugar cookie day, National Sugar Cookie Day or something. So it's always something interesting and
Right.
fun. So we'll throw some of those out in the future.
I like all these days.
Yeah,
It's also National Talk in an Elevator Day. So you want to annoy the people you're riding in an elevator with.
Oh, I thought you said taco in an elevator.
Or taco.
That's a very specific place to eat a taco.
Well, my friends, have a fantastic weekend. I'm going to go weigh in over at Weight Watchers again this weekend and see if I'm down. Last week I was level. I'm getting this extra COVID weight off. My COVID-19 is coming on.
Yeah.
Melinda's going to get me there too. All right. Have a great weekend.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Thanks.
See you later.
Thank you.